The sound of my children crying through their bedroom door is something I'll never forget. I stood frozen in the hallway, my hand hovering over the doorknob, still processing what my 8-year-old son, Jack, had just texted me from his iPad. Aunt Melissa locked us in. Please come home. My name is Sarah Parker, and I never thought I'd have to rush home from the pharmacy to rescue my own children from their aunt. The irony wasn't lost on me. I had only stepped out for 20 minutes to get more party supplies for the family gathering she had insisted on hosting at our house. Let us out. Emma, my 6-year-old daughter, was sobbing. We'll be good, we promise. I tried the handle, but Melissa had done more than just lock it. She'd wedged a chair under the doorknob. Through the door, I could hear the party continuing downstairs, laughter and music drifting up as if nothing was wrong. As if my sister-in-law hadn't just imprisoned my children in their own home. Mommy's here. I called through the door, trying to keep my voice steady. I'm going to get you out. Just give me a minute. I could hear them both sniffling, trying to be brave. The security camera notification had popped up on my phone just as I was checking out at the pharmacy. At first, I couldn't make sense of what I was seeing. Melissa dragging my children up the stairs, her face twisted with anger, while my husband Tom's relatives continued their conversations in the living room below, pretending not to notice. Your bratty kids ruin every party, she hissed, shoving them into their room. Always wanting attention, always making noise. Well, now you can stay here until you learn to behave. I had installed those cameras after noticing bruises on Emma's arms 3 months ago. She'd said she fell at school, but something in her voice made me suspicious. Tom had called me paranoid when I suggested his sister might have something to do with it. Melissa loves the kids, he'd insisted. She's just strict sometimes. Strict. Right. I ran to our bedroom and grabbed a spare key from my dresser drawer, my hands shaking with a mixture of fear and fury. As I worked to remove the chair and unlock the door, I could hear Melissa's voice carrying up the stairs. Oh, the kids, they're just taking a nap. You know how cranky they get at these gatherings. The door finally swung open. Jack and Emma burst out, throwing themselves into my arms, their faces streaked with tears. She said we were bad. Emma hiccuped. She said we didn't deserve to be at the party. We weren't even doing anything wrong, Jack added, his voice trembling. We were just playing with our cousins in a corner like you told us to. I held them close, breathing in their familiar scents, trying to calm my racing heart. You did nothing wrong, I assured them. Nothing at all. Over their heads, I could see my phone continuing to record through the hallway camera. Every moment, every word captured in high definition. The sound of footsteps on the stairs made us all tense. Sarah? Melissa's voice called out, fake sweetness dripping from every syllable. When did you get back? I was just coming to check on the children. I turned to face her as she reached the top of the stairs, her perfect hostess smile faltering slightly when she saw the open door and my protective stance in front of my kids. Funny, I said, my voice ice cold. I thought they were taking a nap. She recovered quickly, smoothing her designer dress. Oh, they were so overexcited. I thought they needed some quiet time. You know how children can be at these events. Yes, I replied. I do know how children can be. I also know how security cameras work. The color drained from her face. Security cameras? I pulled out my phone, turning it so she could see the footage still playing. Her dragging my children upstairs, her cruel words, the chair against the door. I don't understand why you're making such a big deal out of this, she said, but I could hear the tremor in her voice. I was just trying to maintain order at the party. Those children of yours. Those children, I cut her off, are currently locked out of their playroom. Care to explain why? Her eyes darted to the playroom door, then back to me. I have no idea what you're talking about. But I did. The security footage had shown her sneaking boxes out of that room earlier in the day while I was setting up for the party. I had checked the cameras when Jack's text came through. The playroom door was locked, and based on the timestamps, she'd been making trips up there throughout the afternoon. Sarah, Tom's voice called from downstairs. Is everything okay up there? I looked at Melissa, whose smugness had been replaced by something close to fear. No, I called back, never taking my eyes off my sister-in-law. Everything is not okay, and I think it's time we found out exactly what Aunt Melissa's been hiding in the playroom. The party was about to take an interesting turn, and for once my sister-in-law wouldn't be controlling the narrative. As Tom's footsteps started up the stairs, I held my phone tighter, the security footage still recording. Whatever came next, I had proof of how it started, and I had a feeling we were about to discover why Melissa had really wanted my children out of sight. Tom reached the top of the stairs, his face flushed from the party drinks. "What's going on?" Melissa said the kids were napping. His eyes fell on Jack and Emma, still tear-stained and clinging to my legs. "Your sister locked our children in their bedroom," I said, holding up my phone. "And that's not all. Show him what she did, kids." Jack, always the braver one, took his father's hand and led him to the playroom door. "Aunt Melissa took our stuff, Dad. She's been sneaking in and out all day." Tom tried the handle, frowning when it wouldn't budge. "Mel, what's this about?" Melissa's carefully maintained composure was cracking. "They have too many toys anyway," she snapped. "Spoiled rotten, just like their mother." "I was doing you a favor, Tom." "A favor?" I laughed, but there was no humor in it. "Let's see exactly what kind of favor you were doing. Tom, the spare key is in your office." As Tom went to retrieve the key, I noticed Melissa typing frantically on her phone. Through the hallway camera's feed, I could see her last message. "Get them out now. She knows." "Who are you texting, Melissa?" I asked. Just as Tom returned with the key, she jumped, nearly dropping her phone. The key turned with a click that seemed to echo through the hallway. As Tom pushed the door open, I kept my camera recording. What we saw made my blood run cold. The playroom was almost empty. The kids' expensive toys, their gaming consoles, even Emma's beloved dollhouse that my mother had given her before she passed, were all gone. But it wasn't just the missing items that made me gasp. The room had clearly been used as a staging area for an online resale operation. Shipping labels were scattered across the floor. A laptop sat open on the window seat, displaying multiple online marketplace accounts. And in a corner, a stack of receipts caught my eye. Sales records for items I recognized as belonging to my children. "Oh my God," Tom breathed, picking up one of the receipts. "Melissa, these are dated from months ago. How long have you been doing this?" "You don't understand," Melissa said, her voice rising. "David lost his job. We needed the money. These kids have everything while my children make do with hand-me-downs. It's not fair." I scrolled through my phone, pulling up older security footage. There it was, Melissa sneaking in and out of the playroom over the past 3 months, always when she thought no one was watching. The bruises on Emma's arms suddenly made horrible sense. She must have caught her aunt in the act. "Emma," I said gently, "did Aunt Melissa hurt you when you saw her taking your toys?" Emma buried her face in my side, but nodded. She said if I told anyone, she'd make sure Daddy sent us away like he did with Mom's old cat. Tom's face went white. "You threatened my daughter. Your own niece." "Oh please," Melissa scoffed, but her voice was shaking. "She's exaggerating. I barely touched her. Besides, you've always said they need to learn about the real world, Tom. That they shouldn't be so materialistic." "The real world?" I cut in. "You mean the world where you steal from children and sell their belongings to cover up your husband's gambling debts?" Melissa's head snapped up. "What are you talking about?" I pulled out a folded paper from my pocket, an email I printed after discovering the first suspicious footage. David's former boss sent this to warn me. Apparently, he's been stealing from his company to cover betting losses. When they caught him, he claimed he could pay it back because his wife had a thriving online business. The sounds of the party drifted up from downstairs, creating a surreal backdrop to the scene unfolding in the playroom. Through the window, I saw a car pulling up. David's car. He must have gotten Melissa's text. "Those toys were worth thousands," I continued. "The dollhouse alone was a collector's piece." "But it wasn't just about the money, was it? You've always resented my children, always tried to make them feel less than yours." "They needed to learn their place," Melissa suddenly shouted, her calm facade completely crumbling. "Always showing off their new things, making my kids feel bad. You with your perfect job, your perfect house, taking my brother away from his real family." "Mom," Jack's voice was small but steady, "I have something to show you." He pulled up his iPad, opening his photos. There was Melissa, caught on his tablet's camera weeks ago, speaking into her phone. "Yeah, the stuff is legit. Rich brothers' kids, they get all the best things. Trust me, no one will know where it came from." Melissa lunged for the iPad, but Tom caught her arm. "Don't you dare touch him," he growled. "Don't you ever touch my children again." Heavy footsteps pounded up the stairs. David burst in, out of breath. "Mel, we need to go. Now, the buyers are asking questions about the merchandise." "The buyers?" Tom asked, his grip tightening on Melissa's arm. "You mean the people you've been selling my children's stolen belongings to?" David's face went from red to white as he took in the scene. The empty playroom, the shipping labels, his wife caught quite literally red-handed. I heard more footsteps on the stairs, party guests drawn by the commotion. Perfect timing. "I've already called the police," I said calmly, watching Melissa and David's faces drain of color. "They're very interested in this little operation you've been running, especially since some of those buyers reported receiving fake branded items." "That's fraud, isn't it?" "You wouldn't," Melissa whispered. "We're family." "Family?" I held up my phone, showing the footage of her locking my crying children in their room. "Family doesn't do this. Family doesn't steal, threaten, and abuse children. But you're right about one thing. They do have too many things. So let's see what the police have to say about where all those things went." The sound of sirens in the distance made David stumble backward. Melissa's composure finally shattered completely as she sank to the floor, mascara running down her face. Tom turned to the growing crowd of relatives in the doorway. "Party's over," he said firmly. "I think we all need to have a family meeting about what's been happening under our noses." I pulled my children close, watching as their aunt and uncle realized their perfect scheme was falling apart. The security cameras were still recording, capturing every moment of their downfall. Sometimes the best revenge isn't about getting even. It's about bringing the truth to light. The next few weeks felt like a whirlwind. After Melissa and David's arrest at our family party, the truth came tumbling out like dominoes falling. The police investigation revealed that their scheme was larger than anyone had imagined. They hadn't just been stealing from my children, but from other families as well. "We've tracked over $50,000 in fraudulent sales," Detective Morris told me during our follow-up meeting. "Your security footage gave us the evidence we needed to uncover the whole operation." Sitting in our newly restocked playroom, I watched Emma arrange her replacement dollhouse, courtesy of the insurance claim, and thought about how different things might have been if I hadn't trusted my instincts about those cameras. Tom had been unusually quiet since that day, struggling to process the betrayal of his sister, whom he had always defended. One evening, after putting the kids to bed, he finally broke down. "I should have listened to you," he said, his voice rough with emotion. "All those times you tried to tell me something was wrong with how Melissa treated the kids. I couldn't see it." I reached for his hand. "You saw what you wanted to see. She was your sister." "Was?" he repeated bitterly. "I don't even know who she is anymore." The family had fractured along predictable lines. Some relatives, like Tom's parents, were in denial, insisting that Melissa must have had her reasons. Others, particularly those whose children had also mysteriously lost expensive toys over the past year, were furious. Jack and Emma were healing in their own ways. The therapist we started seeing helped them process their aunt's betrayal. Emma's bruises had faded, but the emotional scars would take more time. "Why did Aunt Melissa hate us so much?" Jack asked one night during dinner. "Was it because we had nice things?" "No, sweetheart," I explained carefully. "Aunt Melissa made bad choices because of her own problems. None of this was your fault." The preliminary hearing was scheduled for next month, but we had already decided that the kids wouldn't attend. They had given their statements to a child advocate, and their iPad recordings, along with my security footage, provided more than enough evidence without them needing to face Melissa again. Tom's parents tried to intervene, showing up at our house unannounced one Sunday afternoon. "You have to drop the charges," his mother pleaded. "She's getting help now. David's in rehab for his gambling. They've learned their lesson." "Like Emma learned her lesson when Melissa twisted her arm?" I asked quietly, "or like Jack learned his when she locked them in their room?" "That's different," his father blustered. "Kids need discipline." Tom, who had been silent until then, suddenly stood up. "Get out," he said, his voice shaking. "Get out of our house right now. My children were abused, their things were stolen, and you're defending the people who hurt them. We're done." I had never been prouder of him than in that moment. The insurance company helped us track down and recover some of the stolen items through the online marketplace records. Emma's original dollhouse was found in a collector's home 3 states away. The woman who had bought it was horrified to learn its history and insisted on returning it at her own expense. Keep both, I told Emma when she couldn't decide between the old and new dollhouses. Sometimes having more than we need isn't spoiling, it's healing. Melissa tried to contact me once before the trial through a burner phone she wasn't supposed to have while under house arrest. Sarah, please, she begged. You don't understand what it's like always being compared to you. The perfect mother, the perfect wife, the perfect everything. I just wanted to take something from you for once. You didn't take from me, I replied. You took from innocent children, your own family, and now you have to live with that. I hung up and blocked the number. The security cameras stayed up, but now they captured different moments. Jack teaching Emma how to ride her bike in the driveway, Tom organizing a proper family game night, the kids playing freely without fear of their aunt's sudden appearances. One evening, I found Jack adding password protection to his iPad. Just in case, he said with a wisdom no 9-year-old should have to possess. But, Mom, thanks for believing us, even before you had proof. I hugged him tight, reminded once again that our children often see and understand more than we realize. The final surprise came in an unexpected form. A letter from David's former boss. He had been following the case and wanted to set up a trust fund for Jack and Emma's education, equal to the amount his company had recovered from David's theft. Let some good come from this, he wrote. Your children deserve a future untainted by what happened. Tom and I decided to tell the kids about the trust fund when they're older. For now, it's enough that they're healing, playing, and learning to trust again. The security cameras still record our daily lives, but these days, they capture only joy, laughter, and the kind of chaos that comes from a happy, secure family. Melissa and David eventually took plea deals. They'll serve time, pay restitution, and most importantly, they'll never be allowed unsupervised contact with minors again. Some family members still insist we were too harsh, but looking at my children, finally free from their aunt's cruelty, I know we did the right thing. Sometimes the biggest betrayals come from those closest to us, but they also show us who we really are, and more importantly, who we choose to be. We chose to stand up for our children, to believe them, and to fight for justice. In the end, that's what family should really mean.